One popular question I've been getting recently is, dude, what's that stack? So I decided I was just going to do a video on stacks. I'm going to tell you a little bit about mine. You might actually be surprised when you see what it actually is. And then I'm also going to give you some tips on building your own stack. All right, so let me show you what I got here, man. This thing is no big deal at all. When I tell you I put this thing together in 5 seconds, I'm not lying. So here's what it is. This stack is made of 2 cymbals. I have a Paiste 10-inch PSTX Splash. And this is a 13-inch, no-name piece of crap. I think this might have been a hi-hat top off of a super cheap Junior kit. The coolest thing about those cymbals that you find on those really cheap starter kits is that they're super trashy. Like they make really, really great crashes on their own, or just like effects cymbals and stuff. So I've had this thing for years, man. It was just sitting in the spare room back there. And I felt like making a stack. So I had this already. Again, nice and trashy and quick. It was just a matter of putting them together like this and sticking it on a stand. So I'm just going to give you a couple of tips, man. If you want to make your own stack, the first piece of advice that I want to give you is don't spend a lot of money on stacks. A lot of the big name companies have their own stacks to choose from. Like Meinl has a bunch of them. All the other ones like Zildjian, Sapien, everybody's making stacks now. Don't spend a ton of dough on stacks because they can get expensive. But here's the thing, man. You don't want to spend a whole lot of money on something that just goes. The fact of the matter is, stacks are super easy to make. And to be honest, the best stacks I've ever heard, like all of the best ones, were made from 1 or 2 pieces of crap. Stacks are probably one of the main reasons why you should never throw out your old or cracked cymbals, because they can still be used, man. They still have a purpose. You can easily repurpose a broken or a cracked cymbal by just throwing something else either on top of it or underneath it. And again, in my experience, the cheapest cymbals make the best stacks. So, I'm gonna give you a couple of tips on throwing together your own, because it's a fun experiment. You know, if you have enough cymbals to play with, because you can really get sort of creative and try some different combinations and see what sounds cool. So stacks can range in size anywhere from like 10 inches right up to 18 inches. Or, you know, if you're really ambitious, you can go bigger if you want. But most of them are in that range, like between 10 and 18 inches. And one other tip that I can give you, like when you're looking to build a stack, thinner is better. Thinner cymbals make better sounding stacks. So if you want to pick up a cymbal to start messing around with it, start to experiment, I probably wouldn't buy a brand new one. If you live near a music store, if the music store in your area sells used gear, see what they got for used crashes. Or better still, jump on Amazon and take a look on there. Now when you're shopping for a cymbal on Amazon, just go up and just type in crash cymbal and start scrolling down. Fly past all of the big name brands. What you're looking for is like a generic, cheap, unknown Chinese brand cymbal, anywhere from like 30 to 45 bucks. It's going to be nice and thin, most likely pretty trashy, and you know, you can just go ahead and start drilling some holes in it and whatever you want to do without much guilt at all. And when it comes to stacks, like there's not a whole lot of ways that you can mess it up. So it's best to start with either a used cymbal or like a really cheap Chinese-made crash from Amazon. So let's take a look at a couple of popular stack combinations that you can consider messing around with. The first one would be a small cymbal and a slightly larger cymbal, kind of like what I have here. So yeah, that's really all it is. It can be anywhere between like 10 inches and 16 or 18 inches. And it's two thin cymbals right on top of each other like that. These combinations sound like super cool because they're really quick and explosive and slightly trashy and pretty versatile as well, like as far as stacks go, especially if one of them has holes in it. Any type of hold out crash cymbals, you can do a lot with those as far as stacks go. They work great on top, they work great underneath. There's a lot you can do. The second popular type of stack is the crash combined with a china. So there's a few different ways that you can mount these. You can put the china on the bottom, sort of with the lip this way, and then have the cymbal, you can have the cymbal on top of a china, like mounted this way. These types of things work out really well. This type especially, you want to have a cheap crash inside of it, like on top. I'd never use something like this, only because I love my crashes, number one. Number two, with these types of cymbals especially, when they're mounted upside down, you're going to really start to mash up the edge. So yeah, so after a little bit of playing, the edge is going to get a little bit warped. So start with a cheap cymbal if you're going to do that. Another popular and cool stack combination is sort of the reverse idea. So you have a china sitting on top of a crash, like with the lip up, like that. These ones sound cool, like all the way up to 18, even 20 inches. Dave Weckler used to play one off to his right, and I think it was about 18 inches. But he would sort of, the other cool option with those is that you can play like the flat of the stick right on top of it, right there. So you can kind of ride on this part, and it just sounds really cool as an effect. So again, if you're going to do that, cheap crash underneath it, because if you, after a while, like especially if you play it on a regular basis, you see where that sort of curve is right there? That's going to wear a giant circle on your cymbal. So if you got a new one, you might be in tears after a few weeks when you see it getting all marked up. Another super cool combination is combining a hold cymbal, some kind of hold crash, like an Ozone or something like that, or a PSTX from Paiste, on top of a crash to make trash hats. Trash hats are the friggin' coolest thing ever. Just watch Chris Dave for a little bit to see what you can do with those. But yeah, those trash hats, man, if you get them on like a remote hi-hat stand or something, like actually mounted on a clutch, you can do some super cool things with that. And the open hat too, like if you play it with a pedal, the open hat sounds amazing because it's like super nice and trashy. So yeah, trash hats, man. Larger sizes seem to sound better with those, so either 16 inches or 18 inches for something like that. An important tip, if you're gonna start messing around with trash hats, the bottom cymbal. The bottom cymbal should be heavier than the top. You're gonna get the best sound if you do that. So in terms of trash hats, you wanna go with at least a medium weight, medium heavy or heavy would be even better. So of all of these different combinations that we just talked about, like I said, all the major companies are making stacks, but they're so easy to put together on your own, they're gonna sound just as good. And you're probably gonna be able to do it for like a third of the money. If you are gonna spend the money on a new cymbal with the purpose of making a stack out of it later, I would just suggest buying like a cheaper, any kind of cheap hold-out cymbal like a Paiste PSTX. All of those cymbals in the PSTX line are relatively inexpensive. and they make really good combinations with other cymbals. So there you go, man. Quick little video on stacks. Now you know what I'm rocking over here. It's really not worth much more than like 60 bucks. Search around for some used thin crashes, or grab one off a junior kit or something, or just jump on Amazon and get one of those generic ones. And then have fun, man. Start experimenting, start drilling holes, popping rivets, do whatever you want to do. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video. Share it if you dig it, like, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when the next one's coming out. See you next video.